Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is the joy of EXP cast, Stoy Jovic.
Good evening.
So
Man, it's like every week I always try to come up with something witty or something like, I got to go make fun of Jesse. And like, I was like, I don't want to make fun of Jesse this week because he's going to expect it every week. And then it's going to be a running gag the whole time. And then I'm not going to do it. And everyone's going to be like, what the hell, Stoy? Like, why aren't you being you? Is everything okay? Why aren't you making fun of Jesse? And then Jesse's going to think that I hate him. And I don't hate Jesse. And Jesse's a really cool guy. I don't want to knock on him or anything like that. But, sometimes you don't want to have a running shtick the whole time. You want to just kind of shake it up, shake things up a bit, something new every day, every week. So
you want to be like Taylor Swift and shake it off.
Let me tell you, that fucking 10-minute song that's on her new album that just came out, I've listened to that song 10 times this week, coincidentally. 10 times.
That's
I didn't even know she had a new album.
Well, she's re-recording all of her old albums because so she can have the rights back to them or something.
Well, yeah, because it's a whole long story. So she's painstakingly recording a lot of her old stuff. But there's this 10-minute song that's on this new album that she cries about breaking up with Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's all the rage. So
Jake Gyllenhaal.
And it's 10 minutes long. It's 10 minutes long.
10 minutes to break up with Jake Gyllenhaal?
I was
10 minutes for Jake Gyllenhaal to break up with her, and she's brokenhearted about it.
I was going to say,
Taylor.
That works out for her. I don't know. I don't know if she had any new breakup relationships recently for new material, but
this is an old song. Like I said, this song came off the Red album, which is, I don't know how old it is, but
yeah,
probably look it up. But who wants?
I don't want to. I don't want to listen to that song anymore.
Taylor Swift is a tall lady.
Mm-hmm.
She's like 6'1".
Yeah,
that scares me. And I'm 6'5". So,
you intimidated by a tall, skinny white girl
who has a bird cage in her house that she swings in?
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen that? She's got a adult-sized bird cage with a swing in it that she sits in and
I'm sorry. This is what white people do when they have too much money.
I know.
They put stupid shit in their houses that they don't need. Why do you need a freaking bird cage and a big swing in your damn house? Do something constructive with it. Build a school or something like that, whatever. White people. I'm going to build a bigger backyard for myself and my one little Chihuahua dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for girl power and all that kind of stuff, but I've just never really cared for her. It is what it is, though.
She's a good talent. She's a good talent.
Yeah. I mean, she's talented.
She writes her own shit. She writes her own shit, and that's cool. I can respect that. And she's sticking it to the man by saying, okay, if I can't buy my old catalog back, I guess I'm just going to re-record everything.
Yeah.
So, and that got to give her props for that.
Yeah.
Got to give her props for that.
You know what? Speaking of women who sing songs.
Yes.
I went into our bedroom last night. My wife and I were going to watch something on TV. And it was like the generic Vivo channel that comes up on all Samsung TVs when you turn them on, because that's what comes up now when you turn on a Samsung TV. And Avril Lavigne was on. I was like, hot damn. Haven't seen her since I was 12.
Like new stuff?
No.
Is she still making stuff? Or?
No.
Oh.
It was Girlfriend. So.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I think she has made new stuff, but it's still been a little while.
I mean, she has, but I mean, classic Avril Lavigne is Avril Lavigne.
My wife doesn't like her because her and Hillary Duff for a little while there were beefing. So my wife was a Hillary fan. She was a bigger fan of her, which Hillary Duff, that's another one too who's super talented, but she's kind of taken. I think she's just kind of decided to just deal with
She was in a show called Younger that my wife and I watched for 7 seasons, and now she's going to be in How I Met Your Mother spinoff.
Yeah, but she's just doing other stuff, like, because I think for a while there she took a break because she was like doing family stuff and like, just wanted to like just have family, do stuff with family and kind of put the whole fame stuff aside for a little bit. But
family.
It's all about family.
Family.
It's like
like the Titans. Like
yeah.
Robin, it's like, why do you care about these kids? Because we're family.
Yeah.
Because we're family.
Yeah.
We're family. We're a family. Why do we have to do this? Because we're a family.
I half expected Vin Diesel to show up because he said family so many times.
I know. Yeah. I was thinking that too. I was like, when are we going to get Vin Diesel to come in as Black Adam in this series?
God. I finally started like watching it again. Man, that show's good.
Yes, it is. I just started season 3. I'm like about halfway through right now.
Ooh. So, I'm like halfway through season 2
3,
still.
man. Season 3, man. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, I need to get back to it too. I watched like an episode or two like maybe 2 weeks ago after you guys were talking about it. And then I just kind of got sidetracked again. But
yeah, cool. I did watch Shang-Chi last night though.
Ooh, yeah, I want to watch that
on Disney Plus. I like
it.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was I like I think the first hour of the movie stronger than the back half, but still pretty good, I mean,
a lot of good martial arts stuff I've heard in it.
Yeah,
which is, what's important.
Yeah, it's really that stuff's really cool. But then, like at the end, like they go to like the mystical land, and then it turns into another Marvel CG fuckfest, which is fine. I like it. Okay, but it didn't do anything new, really, except for instead of aliens, they're fighting dragons. So I mean that was cool, but
a secret dragon.
Yeah. Corey, what are your thoughts about the possibility of the new oh God, no. Go ahead. So I just completely.
We gotta talk. Okay, I was gonna say you lost it. Now it's my turn.
Yeah. The new what?
Are we gonna
hold on?
Are we gonna talk about this? What?
Indiana Jones. That's what it was. I blanked for.
I want more Indiana Jones.
Well, no, but did you hear the rumors that there's gonna be like time travel in it?
No.
Okay. Well, supposedly there's gonna be time travel. That's the rumor, but I don't know.
I thought it took place in the 60s against the Russians. I thought that was like the whole point of the movie.
Well, there's supposedly that someone claims that they had seen recording, like
someone claims things all the time
somewhere, like actually seen people like them recording the movie, and there was what looked to be like a young Indiana Jones, like as a younger person or something, being rescued by some girl, or I don't know. So yeah, I mean, who knows?
I mean, they did that in Last Crusade, right? I mean, they showed young Indiana Jones in that, and then that spun off into a TV show. But anyways, we can
R.I.P. River Phoenix.
Anyways,
had to bring it down. I do not want another Indiana Jones.
I do, but
I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Huge. I lived that. Indiana Jones was the reason why I wanted to be an archaeologist as a kid. That is why I love the hell out of history and stuff like that. Is solely because of those movies. After Crystal Skull, I was like, nah, we're good. We don't need any more Indiana Jones movies. Let the franchise just stay where it's at and leave it there.
Here's my thing. I would like a lot more Indiana Jones, but I think they should just James Bond that shit. And just recast somebody. Here's the thing. When they were talking about Indiana Jones 4 at the time, and like in Harrison Ford was like, they didn't really sign him yet, and they were just like, whatever. I was like, you know who would be a good Indiana Jones? Bradley Cooper would be a good Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he could be, yeah.
That would be my choice to replace. And then everybody's like, oh no, Chris Pratt. And I'm like, God, that dude's in everything.
God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them Chris Pratt haters like everybody else, right? But like, he really only fits certain kind of roles, right?
Chris Pratt roles, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was like the funny, like he was like the funny guy, and then he got cast in a funny action role in Guardians, and then they started putting him in action roles, and then it's like, well, I still don't really think that's him, you know, because I think he's kind of sucks in Jurassic World. So I don't know. I don't like those movies at all, though. So that's just me.
Yeah. See, the Jurassic Park movies, like I love Jurassic Park. They didn't bother me. Like I mean, they weren't like the best thing in the world, but like I don't know. I liked the direction they took with all the, you know, like having them training the raptors and like, you know, just, I mean, after a while, you got to think of something different. You can't just completely always rely on it just being dinosaurs running away or people running away from dinosaurs and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Like they got to do something more interesting eventually. And that, you know, like all those movies are way better than that third one. The third one was the only one I do not like.
Yeah. Oh, you mean of like the original trilogy?
Yeah.
I like the third one. I think I don't know. I still think the first one is still the best. And well, it's like, obviously the first one's the best. But I think it's the only really great Jurassic Park movie is that first one. Like
absolutely
everything that comes afterwards is like, okay, it's fine. It's fun. It's just dinosaurs eating people, watching them try to escape this island because they keep going back like idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Yeah, and I think it helps too getting to see that first one in the theater as a kid. It was so amazing. Like, you know, like for the first time seeing all that and like the CGI and just everything about that movie was just like, holy cow.
Yeah. Anyway, Stoy, what were you gonna you wanted to talk about some crazy expensive Xbox.
$10,000 Xbox Series X.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Made by Gucci. This is a Gucci branded Xbox Series X. So basically, it's the same system, Series X, with just the Gucci branding all around it, and it's got a particular controller scheme design too. That it's got like red and blue stripes that kind of go down the left side of it. And it's also branded with the it comes with a Gucci luggage box too with it. So like if you want to take your Series X on the go for whatever reason, you get a big ass like Gucci box to put it in.
Cool. Yeah, it's just like that one for Switch where everything has its own compartment to put the pieces in.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be $10,000, and you can only buy this. And they're only making 100 of these. And you can only buy this at Gucci stores in like all the big cities like New York, Beverly Hills, Mexico City, Milan, London, Berlin, Beijing, or Tokyo. So if you live anywhere near those and you need a Series X, and for some reason you just found $10,000 you don't know what to do with, this also comes with Xbox GamePass Ultimate, so you're getting a good deal out of it.
Yeah.
So
does it come with it should at least come with one of those the Game Pass Ultimate for Life cards.
I know, no kidding. Like honestly, it doesn't say how long the Ultimate subscription is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it comes with two controllers.
Ooh, so two controllers.
Pretty good deal. I don't know.
And aren't those controllers like actual fabric on them too, or is it just a regular controller with? I couldn't remember now if it was actually made out of fabric, like they had fabric like laid over the top of it too, or not. I can't remember.
It's not really. It's not. It doesn't really say, but it just. I mean, it doesn't look like it. It just has the Gucci red blue stripe that it's very well known for. I guess I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I thought this was a Gucci main Xbox when I first read this story. Then I was like, oh, this is actual Gucci. Actual Gucci one.
Gucci.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't the first time they've done this. I think they've done this with other systems before.
I think they did it with the One X also.
Yeah. Something like that. But yeah. So sick. Cool.
Yeah.
They're only making 100 of them. So get in line now.
Yeah. I just want those.
The 19th.
I just want those shoes, the Adidas Xbox shoes.
Which ones? There's like 4 of them.
I want the one that looks like the OG Xbox version of them, where it's got like the big green logo thing on like the tongue or whatever you call it.
Okay. Well, speaking of tongue, guys.
What?
Huh? Yeah. You don't know where I'm going with this, do you, Stoy?
No, I don't. I'm kind of curious now.
This is the Arsenal podcast, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we get together with our friends from around the internet to talk about Xbox and everything from the news, rumors, new games, Game Pass, and more. Check out Arsenal X live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 Central, or on podcast services and YouTube every Tuesday. Follow us on social media platforms at Boss Rush Network. And you can catch all of our podcast reviews, banter pieces, and more on our website, bossrush.net. You like that?
He needed his tongue to say that.
I'm just kind of like, okay, is that why? Was that their tongue reference? Is that what that was?
No.
Because no one would have understood a word he said if he didn't have a tongue.
I just wanted to trip you up and see what happened, you know?
Okay.
So we're gonna jump into what we've been playing, guys. Stoy, I'm going your way first. What are you playing?
So I downloaded a game on GamePass called Backbone, and this is a dystopian detective noir game with kind of 16-bit graphics, so like retro stylized graphics. And I'm going to try to do this game justice. You are playing as a raccoon private investigator. And everybody that you're living in a world where like everybody's an animal, you know, and everybody's walking on two legs and stuff. So this reminds me, I don't know if you guys have heard of the game Black Sad. It's kind of like it was kind of like in the vein of it's kind of the same thing. You were like a cat. And you were a private investigator too. So, but it was in the vein of Telltale style gameplay and conversation pieces and stuff like that. This is kind of similar, but this is side-scrolling, and it has a little element of conversations and trying to kind of like talk your way into people and to get information from people. And then also too, there's like a stealth mission in this game. There's a couple stealth mechanics that you have to do to kind of get through to certain areas. So like the game starts out where like you're supposed to find this woman's husband who she thinks is cheating on her. And through your investigations, you obviously find, you know, a foul play, or you find like something like a little bit there's foul play afoot, so to speak, that involves crime lords and cannibalism. It's interesting where the story is going right now, because what ends up happening is that your private investigator, once he finds this information, he teams up with a kind of like an investigative journalist, and then you have to kind of get information from people through conversation. And a lot of times you can make the wrong decisions, which puts you back a bit, but then you have to find other different ways to go about it. However, it's not like game breaking, really. Like, it seems like sometimes, you know, a lot of times in my hour and a half to 2 hours of gameplay experience, like when I'm engaging in conversation, a lot of it is just like filler conversation. Like, for example, like I'm talking to one of the characters about like kind of like just a casual conversation that has no bearing on the story whatsoever, but it's just a kind of a conversation between two people about like, oh, how are you doing? How are you sleeping? Oh, do you have nightmares? What do your nightmares mean? This and that. And I'm like, does this have any bearing on the story at all? Like, you know, it's like, but part of me is like, I could skip this dialogue, but another part of me is just kind of intrigued by where they go with these conversations, because they are very well written. I mean, I'll give them that. And it's very good conversation a lot of times that you have with other people. And it's funny sometimes how you can, in any typical narrative game, you can present your character to be an asshole, or you can present them to be nice, helpful, serious. There's a lot of sarcasm in this too. Like, somebody says like, "Oh, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And you can reply back saying, "I can tell you what I'm thinking, not what you're thinking." So it's kind of funny in that way, but it's intriguing. It's intriguing, and it's got, obviously there's a mystery afoot, and you're collecting clues along the way, and you're talking to people or the animals in the world itself. But like graphically, it's got that whole like 16-bit retro stylized graphics, but it looks really cool. Like it looks really stylized, really nice, good animation, and yeah, I mean it's definitely interesting. It's got a lot of dialogue, so it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
There's no combat. There's obviously in some of the stealth missions where you got to sneak around. If you get caught, obviously game over. Mm-hmm. You got to go back, to go back to a previous checkpoint. But yeah, like it's interesting. It's got me intrigued, and I kind of want to find out more about the story. So I'm hoping I can beat it this week.
Nice.
But has anyone played the Grand Theft Auto remaster this week?
No, I'm hearing bad things. Although I did download San Andreas because I want to see, but
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something.
Oh boy!
Now, this is where people have. The people are very forgetful. When these games came out on the PlayStation 2, they were broken.
Yeah,
they were broken. There was a lot of glitches. There was a lot of just inconsistencies, not only in the graphics but just like in the gameplay, in a lot of the mechanics. There was a lot of like weird pop-in stuff like that, whatever. People forget that, So if you're coming into this remaster and you're thinking like they fixed all that, they didn't. They literally just took the same game code, slapped a fresh coat of paint on it, gave it a new lighting system, and that's it. This is the game you're getting. So I think all this hate about like people are saying like, oh, this game is broken. It's like the game was broken. The game was broken when it was on PS2. The game was broken when it was on PC, obviously before mods. So you need to understand that they didn't give this game a huge overhaul or a huge makeover.
Well, I wonder too, because like I know that like they found a way to import it into Unreal Engine.
Yeah, the mobile game. They took the mobile version of this game and they ported it to Unreal. So they didn't actually take the PlayStation 2 code. It was much easier to, kind of like you said, Jesse, it was much easier to port the mobile versions of this game. Okay. So, I mean, that could explain a little bit why some of the glitches are happening. Me personally, I've only played Vice City and GTA 3. And I have not experienced bugs that have ruined my experiences. I've seen the weird pop-up, graphics. I've seen cars flying. I've seen other people flying and stuff like that, and this kind of getting flown around all over the place. But it's not like I'm not looking at it like this is a game-breaking bug. But like I said, people forget this is how the original games were.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily as polished as we expect them to be. We're spoiled right now.
Yeah.
Like we expect our games to be coming out perfect. And I think everybody expected this game to come out perfect. And it's not, and people are getting butt hurt.
Well, I'll be honest, because I did download and play San Andreas on my Xbox. And I honestly didn't notice. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I think I played it for like 2 hours. But I didn't, like, in the little bit that I played it and was driving around and just screwing around in the world, I didn't have any bugs or glitches.
Yeah.
The only thing that like, and I expected this much, but like it, in my opinion, it just really doesn't hold up. Like with the games that we get nowadays, with how much stuff there is to do in the open worlds.
Yeah,
it's pretty bare bones in comparison. And that's
another thing I want to talk about.
I got that before I even fired it up, because I know I played the originals, but yeah, like that's honestly for me the only thing is it just didn't really hold my interest enough. I was glad to experience it. It's cool, whatever. Like I never really seen it as anything more than that, though, as just preservation of some sense.
And that's the thing that the other thing I talked about it on our episode, the XP cast just yesterday, is that this is a history lesson to see how far video games have come. Like this game is very bare bones. To think like, my map isn't hugely populated with a bunch of side quests or anything like that. It's all main quest activities. And at least in 3 in Vice City. And it's like the conversations are very short. The conversations are very much, hey, you need something? Yeah, can you go over to this golf course and beat this dude to death? Yeah, sure. And then he walks off, and it's like, what? That's it? That's all you got? Nothing? No, like background in terms of like, I need you to beat this guy up because he was diddling little kids and stuff like that. And it's like, oh hell yeah, I'll beat that dude up. It was, So yeah. The writing is very short. The writing is very much like to the point. We don't have these long drawn out cutscenes, but this game, not only is it a history lesson to see how far we have come, because Grand Theft Auto paved the way for third person action open world games. But this game is also not for people who haven't played the originals, who don't have fond memories of it, because I have sunk in hours and hours into these games when I was younger, in my early 20s. And I still like get those nostalgia feels when I'm driving around Vice City, listening to Toto's Africa, ready to beat this dude with a golf club. Like, yes, and yeah, the game is for me to relive those moments. And like I said, everything is exactly how I remembered it. Is it got bugs? Yes. Is it game breaking? No. Is it noticeable? Barely.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. Is it worth $60? You're getting 3 full games for $60.
But the they're one, old games. They should be $5 a piece.
No, it's not. Video games is a business. Keep that in mind.
That's not true either.
Because video games care about the art, right?
Yes.
Anyway, if they cared about art, they would give it for free, right? But you get San Andreas on GamePass, which is kind of nice, and obviously that's the one that's a little bit more well beloved, because I think it identified more with people at the time, and obviously it had a better story, better characters, but like obviously it was a product of like everything they learned from 3 and Vice City. So
yeah,
it's got that California hip hop, like the sounds to like all the music in it, and then there's a lot of Dr. Dre and stuff like that influence and the music that was picked for it. And
a lot of it. Music was huge for a lot of these. That's why I attached myself to Vice City, because the 80s soundtracks, I grew up listening to a lot of those songs when I was a kid. Yeah. So I hugely identify with a lot of that. 90s too, especially with San Andreas. But yeah, otherwise I jump back into Batman, Arkham Asylum.
Ooh.
I love that game, man. I love that game. I recorded an episode last week with another guy from a podcast, and we talked about DC games, from the DC universe. And, we talked a lot about how Arkham Asylum really kind of changed the game in terms of a melee fighting system that was completely revolutionary at the time. Like the counter system, the ability to kind of take on like massive amounts of enemies at one time, but feel like a badass, while you're doing it. And just having it be very simplistic, like it worked so well, especially for the character, Batman, having this guy to be like, I could take down 20 of you at once, and the stealth mechanics. Like I said, if it was, and I thought about this obviously when I was doing a lot of the stealth missions in Batman, if it wasn't for Batman Arkham Asylum or any of the Batman Arkham series games, Spider-Man would not be anywhere where it is now. It wouldn't have been anywhere as good as it was without that sort of influence. And that's cool. Like that's how we should, develop as games. It's like, obviously we pick up things along the way as we go. And, but yeah, I mean, really good story. Mark Hamill is Joker. obviously we know nails it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got a lot of the kind of like the lesser known enemies in it. Obviously, you know, it's got Croc in there. Zaz makes an appearance for like 2 seconds. You know, you got all the Riddler trophies and Riddler kind of clues you got to go after and stuff. It's really cool.
Calendar Man.
Calendar, yeah. I don't think he shows up in Asylum.
He is. He has his own room right at the beginning, and you go in there at different times of year, and it changes depending on the holiday.
Oh shit! I totally missed that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I picked it up because it's on the only Batman game that's on Game Pass is Arkham Knight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably download that and play that at one point. But I ended up finding a used copy of Return to Arkham Asylum that's playable on the Xbox One and obviously the Series X.
Nice.
So it comes bundled with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So
Nice.
That's what I've been doing.
I wish Arkham Origins was available digitally.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
If you have the disc, you can play it, but it is not available digitally. Although, maybe soon, because they just added a whole bunch of 360 games to the digital backlog, I guess, on which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, man, I want to play some more Batman games. I played a little bit of Arkham Knight the other day because I was just like, oh man, I want to play these Batman games. It was fun. It was fine. And then I got to the Batmobile part and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to play Arkham Asylum, but it was too late to start that.
And that was the thing because everybody when they said like, hey, you can drive the Batmobile, and everybody was like, yes, let's go. But tank battles with the Batmobile, terrible.
Yeah.
Fighting Deathstroke in a tank, travesty.
Yeah.
Travesty.
Yeah.
It was just like one of those mistakes where like bigger isn't always better, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's what. Yeah, when the whole Batmobile stuff started, that I fell off of the game.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into that.
I mean, some of the mechanics weren't bad. It was just some of those tank battles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the drone tanks that you had to go after. Man, some of that stuff was just. This is stupid.
Yeah, it was just the repetitiveness.
Yeah, it was really repetitive.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. There's 2 other games.
I'm gonna be playing more Batman. So
yes, Batman.
I'm jumping back in, and I'm gonna try to find a used copy of Origins somewhere. So, because I don't have Origins, I didn't. When Origins came out, it was too similar to Arkham City, and I fell out of it. I was like,
I played Origins and Arkham City back to back on the Wii U.
Ooh.
So that's where I own my disc set. It's the Wii U of those games. So
yeah.
I've got the real itch. Like ever since Stoy, you were on Boss Rush podcast, which that episode airs this week as well. So you guys should go check that out if you're listening to this. One of the Stoy's topic was collecting retro games. And ever since that night, I've been having the itch to like go collect for like a couple systems. Not like every system.
Where did you feel that itch, Corey? Where did you feel it?
You know that very special word that starts with a T, Stoy.
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's that little
soft, fleshy bit between your sack and your butt.
And your butthole. Yep, right there. It's a very sensitive area. Little nerve endings right there that just, these fingers just pinch and roll right at that taint.
Anytime you can name your character in a game, that's always my name, my go-to name.
But yeah, that's that little nostalgia taint where like it pinches you a little bit like, yeah, you like Batman Arkham Origins? Here you go. You have to put it on the Wii U though. So you gotta plug in the Wii U. Remember the Wii U?
My Wii U is plugged in.
Sick. Mine's too.
See? Got my tablet right here.
Yeah, Etch a Sketch.
Hey now, I have 2 Pro controllers that I use way more than this thing, so. Also have a set of Wii Remote nunchuck just in case I get the itch to play something else that requires it. It's not often, but they're there. So, is that it, Stoy? Is that all you've been playing?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Batman Arkham Origins. If you want to buy it on Amazon, it's $50. Jesus.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the only way it's backwards compatible, though.
Yeah.
Man, good thing.
Yeah, because it's not bad. Is it backwards compatible with the Xbox One?
The disc is.
Okay,
but there's no digital. The digital version. Even if you bought the digital version on 360, is not.
Yeah, that's
for some reason.
That's what was weird. Yeah.
So.
Man, I don't want to pay $50 for that.
No, it's worth it though. That Deathstroke fight alone is awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, Jesse, guess it's your turn. Jesse.
All right. Yeah. So, there's a game that like a couple other podcasts had been talking about for a couple of weeks now. And it's it's a small, like a new game by Devolver Digital, called Inscription. And so, like I heard people talk about it, and at first I'm like, okay, this definitely isn't for me. The second they mention card game and stuff like that, but then they started talking about it more, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And so this game, it starts off, you're playing a card game.
What's the title of this game?
It's called Inscription.
Inscription. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's spelt weird though. It's INSCYPTION. Yeah, it's like crypt, like crypt. But yeah, so it starts off as you're in this room. You wake up and you don't really know where you are, and this weird crazy spinning eye guy that it kind of reminds me of the eyes of the judge from Roger Rabbit, when his eyes start spinning around and poking out. It's so there's this weird looking guy that's in the hiding in the shadows, kind of gets you up, and then you start playing this card game with him. So each you've got different animals or creature type things on each card, and then they've got their value of how much blood you need to be able to lay them down, and then it has how strong their hits are, and their how many hits they can take before they die. And so the whole blood thing is you have to sacrifice characters for blood in order to lay down to play certain cards, and the main sacrificing cards are squirrels. And so that's kind of it starts off showing you the basics of it, but you're playing against this weird guy who he plays all these different characters throughout because it's like a storyline. You got a little map that where you go from plot to plot, and you pick which directions you go to decide what you do. Some areas you can go and it will allow you to do almost a alchemy, where you can take the whatever card you want to sacrifice, and certain characters or certain cards will have these special abilities. So whatever one you lay down as the sacrifice, that special ability will then transfer to the card that you choose to take on the power of the sacrifice, the card you're sacrificing. And so it's going, and it's just really, and it even though I don't like card games, I really am addicted to this one. I just absolutely love it. Now there's three main beats to the game. I'm not really one of those spoiler people who gets annoyed with spoilers or anything like that, or if someone spoils something, I still can watch a movie, I can still play a game, and it doesn't affect my enjoyment of it. And so, like, I listened to a whole spoiler, cast to this game. I won't spoil it here, but like, I just saying that because this game goes weird places that are actually linked to things that have actually happened supposedly in real life. Like, I'll just throw a name out there, Hitler. Like, so like this game, like, it starts out as a card game, and then as you're going through, you meet these characters that are in which are some of the cards you're playing, but they actually have conversations with you, because like this whole card game thing with this guy is a thing. And they make it obvious that multiple people have come before you and lost, and including these characters, like, you find out more about them and why they're on these cards, who they really are, things like that. But there's a really cool story to it besides the card game. But then it's also a puzzle game at the same time, like almost like a point and click adventure. So at certain points of the time, you can actually get up from your seat and you can just look around the room that you're in with this guy who just sits there staring at you the whole time, though, when you get up. And there's different puzzles and things that you can solve throughout the room to try to find out more information about the game you're playing. Find more characters who are, like, people potentially who've been turned into cards or whatever around this room that will help you kind of go through the story. And like, one of the things that's really cool about the game is, so like, in order to win, so like, when you lay a card down and let's say a character attacks 3 times, but the character that they're attacking has only 1 health. So that first attack will kill that character, and then 2 more attacks yet. So any attacks towards an open spot counts as an attack on the person that you're playing the cards with. And so that's determined by gold teeth. So like, the idea of the game is you want to be able to make the scale tip towards this character you're playing against. And so the gold teeth get added to the scale, and then once it tips, you've won. And so there's certain objects that you can get or pay for or unlock that can help you get an advantage. And one of them is like, you eventually, there's like a knife that you can use, and so you like can just stab and just pry out your own eye and then put it on the scale to tip it towards the other guy's side. And so, but you kind of want to do that because it's actually part of the story. I won't say anything more about it than that, but yeah, there's just some really crazy stuff about this game, and it's just really, like, I just really love like what it's doing, because I'll just say later on it turns into a completely different game, and like, this whole fourth wall is broken, and like, there's just this game is just so weird and just so out there and doing something so different that I've never seen before, that like, hearing people talk about this game, I just wanted to play it right away. And so ever since I downloaded it and I've been playing it, I've just been so addicted to it. And it's funny because I don't normally care about card games, but there's the story and the link to reality, like our reality, is just so interesting that I just gotta experience it for myself. And it's only on PC, by the way, because it does things later on that you literally, I don't think you could actually do on console. Like this is a little somewhat spoilery, but intriguing. It might be enough to intrigue someone, but apparently eventually later when you're playing against this guy and like game or whatever, they ask you to pick a real file that's on your computer to wage, and if you lose it will be deleted, like an actual real file that's on your computer. Like it will open up your computer like folder, and then you're
really selling this game, Jesse. I just want you to know.
Yeah, really.
Hitler scooping out your own eyeball, deleting files on you're really selling it.
Well, it doesn't actually delete, but it like the whole point of this, like actually going to a point of where it's making you do stuff in reality mixed with this game, and like I said, like has some real like this card game and stuff has some real life linkage and something that's happened in the past. So yeah, it's a crazy out there game, but like if you have PC to play games on it, and like you're at all interested in like learning more about this game, either watch like a playthrough of it or just play it for yourself, because it's just so interesting. Like it's honestly, a lot of people that have been talking about it have been putting it as their game of the year right now, on these other podcasts that I've been listening to. So yeah, it's just does stuff that nothing else has done before. So and it's like the graphics aren't anything like it's supposed to, because the whole idea of it is it's supposed to be an old game that existed, so it kind of has that like old DOS like kind of style, like visuals to it and things like that. But yeah, it kind of changes up, from what I've heard, and there's kind of unique different things that happen throughout the game. But yeah, it does. Like, I was thinking about this the other day when I was playing. I was just like, God, that would be so cool if this card game could actually be a physical game. But there's so many like cool, like just weirdness to it that would be really hard to do to make it an actual game, because like there's things where you have to build like totems to increase powers of certain characters, and like there's so much that goes into play with this that it would just be literally impossible to actually make this a physical game that you could play in real life, so
yeah,
the way it does. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been playing, to be honest. I played a little Battlefield, but they've kind of been having some server issues with that. I've played quite a few games, but that and Forza, like both of them had been having server issues, and it's just like, man, what's going on?
I heard actually Battlefield's been getting review bombed already.
Yeah, I have. I've heard that too.
I'm sure,
because it's been having a lot more problems than just server issues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's the same issue that I think Battlefield 4 was having when it was released with the new consoles, right? Like, I think it's just servers and just bugs. And, because the game, because the new versions have like 128 players, so like, that's like really hurting the game, I guess.
Well, I think Battlefield 4 suffered from, there were certain game modes you just couldn't play, period.
Yeah.
Like their servers were locking it. So like you could play just normal deathmatch or, some other gameplay modes, but if you wanted to play modes like Rush or Conquest or something like that, those were just completely locked out. I remember at the time, like, and it took them a while to get them up and running. So but
I know. Oh, and I know, like, technically the game isn't out yet, but doesn't come out technically until next week.
Oh, it's out. People are playing it. It's out.
Cursor.
Yeah, because like I bought it, but it still wouldn't let me play it unless I actually got the 10-hour the 10-hour trial, because like the actual game isn't out yet. It's still only playing that like trial early thing. I don't even know what it is exactly. Like, because I own it, but it that just owning it didn't let me play it early. That just allowed me to play the trial, the 10-hour thing or whatever. So, but yeah, so that's mostly what I've been playing. I've just been really super addicted mostly to that Inscription. So
cool, nice. Well, I've played a few things this week actually. I did play some Destiny, but that's a given. But played some more. I played some more Guardians of the Galaxy. The game is really good. I'm really loving that game. I think it's like exactly what I wanted at this moment in time, you know? And I really like the writing. I really like the characters. I really like the banter. I can't remember if I talked about it on this show or on Boss Rush. I think last week I had just started it. But I got through Lady Hellbender's fortress and moving into the next level. And it's really good, guys. I really highly recommend Guardians of the Galaxy, even if you're not a Marvel fan. If you just like a good single-player action game with a skill tree and cool characters to follow and like kind of cool boss fights, like this game fits that to a T. So
I was gonna ask you last week actually, would you compare it to like the Star Wars game that Respawn did? Like,
I mean, it's way faster than that. I think the story is
more linear.
I think the story is more in line with that, but I would compare that, like, the character interaction more to something almost like Mass Effect to a degree. I mean, not nearly as complicated and, you know, probably not going to carry over multiple games, you know, across consoles or whatever, but like the choices you make matter in certain situations, and it's really cool to see it play out. I would actually put the action almost more in line with the current Tomb Raider games, but if Lara could fly with, you know, and like issuing commands to your teammates is really natural. It feels really fluid and really natural. And creating cool combos with them is really cool. Like Groot has this ability to where he can trap multiple enemies at once, and then you send like Drax and Gamora to like stab them while they're trapped, and it's like a really cool combo.
Hell no, you use Rocket's grenade launcher and just blows them all to pieces, man. That's the
you do, but I usually use Groot to hold down the smaller enemies, and then have Drax and Gamora stab them while Rocket and I take out the big, like if there's like one of them big like 4-legged crawler guys or whatever. Also, I like to throw things with Drax too at the enemies. One of the other cool things too, I think I forgot to mention the last time I talked about this, was like the elemental guns that you get that are really cool. Like you can, like right now I'm using the freezing power where it like freezes the enemies, and then I use the grenade launcher with Rocket to blow it up. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Really satisfying. So
nice.
Also, I really liked the boss fight in Lady Hellbender's fortress where like the big tentacle monster, and you had to like freeze the tentacles in the liquid, and then you had to like chop off the limbs. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty unique.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm really enjoying Guardians. But the other game I'm really enjoying, which has taken me away from Guardians, surprisingly, is Forza Horizon 5, which I know we talked about a lot this last week, but goddamn, that game is good. The driving feels good. By the way, picking up that crusty bug from that barn and driving the big like semi-trailer truck thing was like, I was like, man, I did not expect to be doing this in a Forza game.
Yeah, no kidding. That was kind of a unique little twist to like, okay, now you get, not only did you pick it up, but you actually have to drive it back. That's kind of cool.
So yeah, the driving feels really good in that game. The 30 frames a second mode actually feels really responsive and really I've been playing it on 60, but I played about a half hour with the 30 frames just to see,
Yeah.
because obviously the game looks a lot better when you're in 30 frames a second mode. Gosh, that game is so good looking when you're in quality mode. Holy God, that game is so good looking. Like,
yeah.
When you get up close to the foliage, like looking at the cactuses, like in quality mode, like even in performance mode, it actually looks really good and really solid. But like, yeah, you put that on quality mode, and you know what they were talking about, like, oh, we designed each individual prickly bit on the cacti. It's like, yeah, you did. You really did.
Yeah. It's really cool, and I really like just driving super fast off of a cliff and just,
See, that I don't like. That I don't like about this game. Maybe it's my too realistic side, but I hate those moments where it's like, oh, I'm being launched off a cliff. Oh, wow, I'm being in the air for 10 seconds. Oh, I just land perfectly on my four wheels. Don't crash. Don't fracture my spine in any way.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Wow, just like real life.
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how you do it.
You must have hit it like good, because there's been plenty of times where my car is like the whole nose is just smashed right into the ground, and it flipped and was damaged, and it said that I failed.
Get good.
Get good, Jesse.
I actually, right before recording, I was playing it, and I did the gargantuan race. Each Forza Horizon game has that mode where it's like you race the entire map. So it's like a whole like 20-mile, like one lap race, like about like 15 minutes long, depending on what car you use. Man, it's so relaxing. Like just to race, just to drive in that game. Like just to like, I don't have a destination. I just want to drive somewhere, whatever. And just kind of like take the turns. And there's not a lot of sharp turns in this game. So a lot of times you're taking these turns going super fast. And man, the game is such like a relaxing kind of like Zen moment for me. And that gargantuan race, I race it all the time. If I ever like pick up Forza, that'll always be like the one race I'll go to. I'll race that and I'll go do other things. But it's like, man, just to drive for like 15 minutes straight, like super fast, so good.
Yeah.
Did you guys drive in storms then? Did you drive in a sandstorm and all that?
Just that initial one where they're like, hey, drive through the storm. You could do it.
Oh,
or whatever. I haven't like got out of my way to go do it though. So.
Yeah, you gotta go in first person mode or
I did the tropical storm. I did the tropical storm and the sandstorm one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that game is real good, guys. Real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 that it got.
Yeah. So also the other game that I played a little bit yesterday while I was like, because like I'm trying to like start forming my game of the year list, because those conversations are going to start coming up on other podcasts and this podcast and stuff. I went back to Outriders a little bit this week. God, dude.
How is it?
That game is good too.
I've been looking at going back. I know it is like. Yeah. Honestly, I just fell off it because I started playing other things. Like I never had a bad experience with that. I mean, I mostly played solo, but so did they change anything? Like, is there anything new with it? Because I heard there's like new stuff.
They're gonna. I mean, they've had a couple updates that have been like, fixing certain bugs or whatever. Like, but it has stability things, and they upgraded the Series S version a little bit to make it run at a higher resolution while running at 60 frames, which looks good.
Okay.
I I like Outriders. It was when I started playing it, I was like, man, this feels like Gears with superpowers. Like not quite as tight as Gears, but still like felt really good. That game still feels pretty damn good. And like, if you take it for what it is like a dumb space game where it's like what everybody thinks Gears is. That's what Outriders is. It's like dumb macho guy running around shooting bad guys, shooting aliens, shooting big bugs, whatever.
Yeah,
I love this.
It's like if Duke Nukem mixed with Destiny. Yeah,
I mean,
I say more Gears than Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem.
I think he's saying like the humor and the
the stupid because the guy just acts like a complete.
Yeah, but I think man. By the way, Duke Nukem is $2.99 on the Xbox Live Store right now. Duke Nukem Forever. Remember when Randy Pitchford compared Duke Nukem Forever to Half-Life? Now, I'm not a Half-Life fan, but I understand what that game did for the industry, especially first-person storytelling games. And, like, Duke Nukem Forever is not...
strip club. It brought us strip clubs in first person. That's about all it did.
No, the original Duke Nukem brought that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like that's all Duke Nukem is.
So, yeah. So I played a little bit of Outriders. I just finished the mission that I was on, and then I turned it off because I'm just trying to finish a bunch of stuff up before we start talking about it. But goddamn, dude, that game is so fun. So fun. I wish Square would pay People Could Fly, even though I know most of their support came from Game Pass and not necessarily purchases of the game. But man, Outriders is good. I hope they make either a sequel or bring us an expansion, which their Twitter account's been super active recently because they're going to have some announcements. Stoy, I know you kind of pointed to that, but like, man, Outriders. Somebody please play Outriders. Austin and I go back and forth on Outriders a lot, and man, it's good. So that's all I've been playing, though. It's fun.
Sick.
Yeah. Sick.
There's too much. There's too much.
There is. So before we get into the news, I do want to address that if you're not watching live, this episode does come out on Tuesday. Monday is the big 20th anniversary event for Xbox. We know that. We are going to do something for that as well. I don't know if it's going to be in addition to the end of this episode before it posts, or if it's going to just be its own separate episode. Jesse, I wouldn't mind if you even posted this episode Monday just to like the audio version, and then we can post the video version on, 2 separate episodes on Tuesday or whatever. But we are going to cover that event in some way. And Stoy and I have kind of talked about it in the chat. Jesse, I know you're probably going to be working, but if you can, still want to talk to you, even if you just call in for a couple minutes.
Well, what time is it at?
I think it's in the morning. Is it not in the morning?
I thought it was actually early afternoon. They don't usually post stuff in the morning.
Oh, well,
yeah, because if depending on what time it is, I might actually just go to bed shortly after we're done recording here, and I can get up early then and just record with you guys or watch or whatever we plan on doing.
Okay. Well, I mean,
because my wife's home. I don't have to worry about getting the kids or anything like that. So
yeah, I mean, the thing is for me is like I don't get home from work until about 6:15, and then I got to get my kid a bath and put her to bed, and then I can be on as soon as I'm done with that. But that's usually why we start at 8:30, because that's usually when everything wraps up. But if I can be on earlier to talk about it, at least I can.
It's actually going to be at noon tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm on lunch break at noon.
I mean, at least like on my timeline. I don't know about, your time.
Oh, that's like
one. That would be one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Take a late lunch, bro.
Yeah. I could. I'll figure it out. If I can watch it, I will watch it. So, with that said, we're going to move into the news this week. A little bit more news than I expected, but still not a ton. We're going to start with Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 had the biggest launch day of any Xbox Game Studios title, guys. Not a surprise.
No.
Because it is a very good game, and racing games are for everyone.
Yeah, especially the Horizon series, because it's very... Admittedly, I'll say this game drives more arcadey than any of the Forza games previously, even the past Horizon games.
Mm-hmm.
So this game is very accessible to anybody that wants to get into racing games. And obviously with 4.5 million players playing this game right now as we speak, it's a pretty damn amazing number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hit. I mean, I know they're judging by Game Pass, and people are like, oh, well, how can you judge Game Pass games? It's like, well, look, that's how, and plus how many people bought the expansion just to play 3 or 4 days early, you know?
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. Didn't they say they had 1 million people playing it early
This weekend, yeah. Which the game didn't even come out till Tuesday.
Yeah. So, I mean, all those people
last
had
weekend, I
to
guess.
spend some kind of money in order to be able to be playing it. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, like, you know, it's like so many people buy the expansion pass now.
Yeah.
Because you're getting it for free on Game Pass, and it's like, okay, I'll spend the $40 to get the tons of extra content that'll be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know, over the next year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got the $50 bundle where you get all the season pass and the free car packs and that will constantly be coming out all throughout the life of it. So I always end up getting that. I usually just don't get it until later. So like for me, it wasn't a big deal like to get it early so I could play it early. I'm like, I'm gonna buy this anyways eventually, so I might as well get it now and be able to play it early, you know.
Yeah, usually with any of the past games, I've always gotten the Ultimate Edition right off the bat that comes with everything. So, but this time it was different because it launched day one on Game Pass, so it was like, well, I'll just buy the extra content later. So
yeah. So pretty good. Pretty good. I will probably buy the expansion when it's like, I'm sure it's going to be on sale at some point. Right. I mean,
it is now. I think it's actually discounted like for Game Pass subscribers. So
I know, but like usually around like Black Friday, it'll be like what 30 or 40% off probably at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think I've bought. I want to say it was the Forza Horizon 3. The DLC, like the normal like $60 or whatever pack that they had. I think I ended up buying it at like 75% off or 80% off. They had like a big sale, and I ended up buying it for like $15 or less than that. So that was like a year later almost. So like it had already been out for quite a while.
Yeah. So good for Forza, man. Good for Xbox nailing another high quality title. You know, very it's a good time to be an Xbox gamer. You know why, guys? You know why? It's not just because of Forza, but Xbox is definitely working on a new version of 1 versus 100.
What?
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah. This is a rumor, of course, but it's from a reliable source. And Jeff Grubb from Games Beat, and this was actually from his Giant Bomb show, Grub Snacks. Quote, 1 versus 100 is coming back. They are definitely making that game, and it seems like it's coming from the Altspace VR team. They are spearheading the project, and all of the avatars we saw in Microsoft's Teams thing last week, they're going to use those avatars to bring that stuff in. So that's cool if you're a fan of 1 versus 100.
Well, dude, so many people complained about that game when it disappeared. Like, wanted it back so bad. Like that game had such a crazy following. It's kind of like the whole
I had no idea.
It's kind of like the Minecraft thing where it was a big community of people that loved that game that existed, and just like most people didn't realize how big it was until it was gone. Like, yeah, because so many people were mad when that went away. And have been asking for a long time for that to come back, because I mean it was cool. I played it, it was cool, like playing a real time essentially game like you would see on TV or whatever. So like it was kind of a cool concept of just really using the online play and multiplayer as something that happens in real time. Like that was cool. And I think you actually could win like real money and stuff like that playing it if you did win. So
yeah, so it was a cool concept. I think it was a little early for the time, but still cool. Cool concept. So hope it comes back. I think this is the time. I hear games with 100 players versus one player is a big deal these days. So
yeah, I suppose.
That was a battle royale joke, everybody. Catch up. Keep up.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, no, I get it. This is so far off my radar. I'm just like, I acknowledge, I guess, that a lot of people liked it, and I guess sounds like people wanted it back. So have fun with it.
They did want it back, Stoy.
Well, I mean, a lot of people love, a lot of people love, doing trivia and stuff like that, and that's essentially all it was a trivia.
White people love doing trivia.
Yeah.
White people love trivia. They love karaoke. Love going to Applebee's for Harry Potter trivia night.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter must not return to Hogwarts.
Applebee's. I think I've only been to Applebee's like twice in my entire life.
Oh,
twice in the last week, Jesse. Be honest.
My entire life.
Twice in the last week. Stop lying.
I love that. Applebee's eating good in the neighborhood. They didn't say great.
See, you even know the slogan. Get out of here.
Yeah, they said eating.
Go there 2 times a week.
It's because the radio show I listened to was making fun.
Anyway.
Wow. Man. Speaking of eating good in the neighborhood, guys, Xbox's neighborhood is growing in terms of their library of games. New upcoming Xbox exclusives seemingly revealed via Windows Central. Project Midnight from Compulsion Games and Pentiment from Obsidian. So that's Obsidian's 4th project, guys. First of all, are we a little worried that Obsidian's kind of filling their plate with a lot of things right now? They've got Avowed, they've got Outer Worlds 2, they've got Grounded, now they have this.
Well, we have to temper our expectations because just because we see concept art for a game that they're working on doesn't mean they're actively working on it. I imagine they're trying to boost their portfolio up for the next 10 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these games that we've been hearing about we're not going to see for a long time. Yeah. It just sucks that we have to have it leaked because now people are like, well, when's this game coming out? It's not for a long time, so sit down and shut up.
Yeah, and for all we know, it could end up being something completely different by the time they actually are working on it. I think this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's just, Microsoft is still in a position where they want to try to prove to people that there's a reason why you need to get their console.
Yeah, and there's big stuff coming down the pipeline.
They're doing it the right way where they're just like, hey, we got this. We're working on stuff. It may not have a name right now, but just so you know, we're actually trying to make some games here and making sure that this whole Xbox doesn't have games thing, it doesn't happen again. So that's essentially what they're doing. I think they've just heard so many times people saying that they don't have games that they're trying to give people every opportunity to not be able to say that again. So
yeah, I guess so. Anyways, so we did see 2 games or 2 kind of reveals, right? Compulsion Games, Project Midnight, which is kind of like a first or a third person kind of immersive game. Let's see. We recently received some details on Compulsion's first outing as part of Xbox Game Studios, currently codenamed Midnight. This upcoming title is supposedly a third-person action game set in a dark and fantastical world. By the way, the character design of the main character, I'm assuming, looks awesome. I think she looks awesome. Let's see.
Have you ever played that? I know this is concept art, but you ever played that game Fear Effect?
Yes.
Back in the PlayStation era. That's what this kind of the concept art of this reminds me of. Kind of like a dark cell shaded look.
Really?
Where it's it's not cell shaded, but it's kind of like a cross between cell shaded and anime kind of thing. Yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. I don't know if this is just concept art or if that's the art style that they're going to go with the game, but I'm getting huge vibes off of that.
Huh. Okay. Either way, I think it looks cool. Fear Effect, man. That game came out at a time for, I don't know, middle school boys going through a time Or, ladies, if you no discrimination,
That game was stupid hard. Stupid.
It's because they just wanted you to look at them. They didn't care about.
And I think they coded 80 different death animations. Like, there were so many death animations. Like, they had the death animation of you falling off a freaking ladder because you hit the wrong button.
Right.
Like, wow, how all the detail that went into that damn game.
Right. You think Tomb Raider had a bunch of death animations for Lara? Jeez. Did you play that new one? The kind of top-down isometric one? Sedna?
Nope.
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't very good.
Okay, because I saw gameplay of it and I'm like, hard pass on that.
It was
sucks because I really wanted it under the Fear Effect.
The concept of the game is cool. I bought it on sale on Switch for it was like $3. So I was like, you know what? Why not?
Oh, okay.
And I played like an hour of it, and I was like, man, if this game was like a little bit faster paced and like the AI wasn't so dumb, this game could have been really great. But like, it was just really slow. And instead of like a kind of like a action-y game, it was more of like a turn-based stealth game almost.
Like, could have been almost cool, like they were trying to do that, what IO was doing with what was it, Hitman Go,
it wasn't like that. Did you guys play the John Wick Hex game?
Yeah, I did.
It was like a very slow version of that almost.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Otherwise, I think this game Pentient sounds kind of interesting because this is a kind of an indie title, so this isn't like a AAA game of any kind. So I would imagine Obsidian has a big enough team that they could kind of section off, like, okay, this section of the studio is going to work on that. This portion of the studio is going to work on this. So they probably put together a small team of people to work on this game, which apparently they say they're taking some heavy cues from Disco Elysium.
Yeah,
It's probably a lot of character interactions.
Yeah.
So in 16th century Europe, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. So
makes me want to go back to play. This makes me want to go back to play Procession to Calvary. Which have any of you guys played that yet?
Nope.
No.
Sorry.
Bitches, it's on GamePass.
Or wait, no.
So it was Forza.
That's the one that's like Monty Python, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did play it. I got.
I'm not coming back next week. I'm not coming back next week until at least one of you guys plays it.
I did play it, but I could not figure out what I needed to do to get to be able to get on the boat.
What's this game called?
To take them.
What's it called?
Kill the dude.
Huh? I tried to, but
what do you mean you tried to? You didn't try hard enough. It's either that or you could you have to get the people that are dying outside the church to convince the person to give you his crutches.
There. Okay. Stoy, I'm downloading this stupid game.
You're not going to be saying that next week.
I bet I will.
Yeah, because I was clicking on like all of those people. Yeah, like I clicked on all those people, and then like they would say something, and then
you have to kind of like do things for them. It's either that or you can just kill the dude and take his crutches. But your game is going to prematurely end.
Okay.
If you just keep killing people like that, which that's how I played the first time around. I was like, give me your crutches. He's like, no, I'm not going to. All right, you're dead. Now I got your crutches.
Like when you choose to kill someone, that's like an actual button clicking sequence you have to do, right?
You have to actually pull out your sword, and then you have to hit whatever action button it is to kill.
Okay.
Anyway, but so moving on. But apparently this game is coming out 2022, so they must be pretty deep into it by now. This Pentient.
Yeah. Well,
it's all about the Pentient.
Pentiment.
We shall see, everybody. So looks cool. I'm ready for Compulsion's new game for sure. I think that one's going to be the winner for me. As everybody knows, I'm the indie guy here for this Pentient. So
Pentiment. Sorry.
Whatever. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Corey's the indie guy.
I did re-download the Outer Worlds too because I do want to play that. I do want to. before we get into this this last kind of thing, I've been really like, so last week I was kind of like focused on getting a couple of our new things off the ground, which we kind of talked about a little bit of one of them in the chat, but I've just been, okay, there's so many people involved in Boss Rush now that like, not that I don't want other people to jump in on other shows, but I think the people that are on the shows that they're on should focus on like that kind of wheelhouse in terms of coverage and stuff and playing games. Not that like I don't want people to like, not that I don't want Stoy to go play like Metroid Dread or Advance Wars when it comes out or whatever, but like
not playing Advance Wars.
But like for me, I want to, since I'm on this show and obviously Boss Rush podcast, but like I'm on this show, I'm gonna really focus on the Xbox library for now, or not for now, but like, you know, just because I want to make this show the best it can possibly be. And like I'm re-downloading a bunch of games that I played a little bit of, but then moved on to something else, or just stopped playing because I was working on something else, or, you know, doing at one point I was doing like 5 or 6 podcasts in 1 week, and I was like, I don't have time to play games. So I re-downloaded a ton of things to try to go back to and replay, and now I have to play the Procession to Cavalry.
That's a short game. That's a short game. You'll have fun. Okay. You'll play the game, and you'll be so far into it, you'll be like, where did the time go?
I didn't know Quake was on Game Pass. I guess I did.
Sick, yeah, bro. Yeah.
I guess I did. Maybe
It'd be nice if 2 and 3 came out on Xbox.
Yeah.
It's out on PC, but
like 2 especially, right? 2's the one that
2 would be awesome.
So
2 would be awesome.
Quake Tournament Edition.
Speaking of old games, guys, this has me hyped because I like a lot of these old games that are on here. Various Xbox 360 games have received unexpected updates. Just a bit of maintenance or something more. This comes from our friends over at Pure Xbox. The saga continues, following rumors and speculation that a new batch of backwards compatible titles were being added to Xbox. I gotta open that link too, because I would like to discuss that after this, even though it's not on the show note list. This Monday, November 15th, various older back compat games have suddenly received unexpected updates. So, I guess today's Sunday.
This has happened before. You know, and I've always taken these kind of updates with a grain of salt because, you know, the emulation on these Xbox systems are software, and the software needs to be updated, especially when it comes time to specific games. Some 360 games don't run as well as they probably should, so they probably push out updates to kind of help, you know, I guess make it run better or whatever, or even just kind of updating the software, the emulation software itself. So I take this with a grain of salt. However, there has been rumors over the last few weeks that Microsoft is going to be dropping a bunch of backwards compatibility games.
I have that soon. I have that list here, I think. So, okay. So this is the these are the 11 games that have been added, and a 12th one was added earlier today on an old marketplace in like somewhere in the Middle East or something, one of those markets. Dead or Alive, Dead or Alive 2, Dead or Alive 3, okay. Manhunt, okay. Max Payne 1 and 2, sweet. Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, okay. That's probably coming, right? Even though didn't they sell an updated version of that? Isn't there an updated version of that? An HD version? Yeah, because I have it on Switch. So
yeah, and it's coming to Xbox, the new one that they made too.
Yeah. By the way, can they just put Stranger's Wrath HD on Xbox now, please? Because I would totally play that again. I have it on Switch, but it runs like crap, and I want to play it at 60 frames a second in 4K on my Xbox.
Bougie ass, like, I need to play this in 4K. This old game.
Look, I don't mind playing things on my Switch, right? Like, it's fine. If it runs fine, then it runs fine, and I can suck it up. But dude, this thing runs at under 20 frames a second, and there's so much texture pop in, and it's just like, just give me the damn game on Xbox.
Yeah.
Stop snubbing Xbox people. Come on. Red Dead Revolver, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Episode 3, Thrillville, and last but not least, the game added after the story was written was Max Payne 3.
Nice.
Max Payne 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
So
let's go. Do I have that on the 360? Probably not. I think I have it on the PS3.
But
yes, I have it on PS3. Shit.
But the games that received various updates today were Gears 2, Gears 3, Gears Judgment, which Gears 2 and 3 already have Xbox One X enhancements. So I don't know what that would be for. That might just be an emulation thing, like Stoy said. Gears Judgment does not have an Xbox One X enhancement. So that might be getting some sort of enhancement. Fable Anniversary, Assassin's Creed, which does have enhancements, Dead Space 2, Sonic Unleashed, Alan Wake, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Darksiders, the 360 version. Although you can buy all three of those games for $10 right now for the Xbox One versions right now. So Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, great game. You should buy it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, part of this too, I think, is because remember there, the AI learning stuff, allowing them to put some of these games at frame rates that they never were intended to be able to get. The 100.
Well, that's the thing.
120 frames.
A lot of people are thinking that maybe some of these are getting frame rate boost enhancements.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because Gears 2 and 3 still run at 30 frames a second, even though they have the awesome enhancements for the new consoles. So, Sonic Generations, Fallout New Vegas, Cameo are also getting updates. So, I haven't played all of these games. I can tell you that Gears 2 and 3 were some of the first games I checked out when they got enhancements, and they run really well, aside from still running at 30 frames. But yeah, cool. Oh, Dead Space 3 is on this list too, in case you guys care.
I like Dead Space 3. I don't care what anybody says.
I like Dead Space 3 also because it's not a horror game. It's an action game, which is what I like.
Yep.
You know what? If you really like Dead Space 2, go play Dead Space 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I liked 3 as well. I didn't think it was as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of weird though that well, I guess it probably wasn't backwards compatible. You could still play it through EA, the EA Play or whatever. Mm-hmm. But now they probably just made it so the discs work or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or again, maybe there's enhancements to those. So
yeah. By the way, shout out to Pure Xbox. By the way, they're like my new go-to for Xbox information.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, that whole company or whatever that runs Nintendo Life and Pure Xbox and Push Square, they're my new go-to for any information I need on anything. So shout out to them. Shout out to you, Pure Xbox. Good on you.
Yeah, I used to use Push
Gamer. Square, Eurogamer, VGC, yeah.
Because Eurogamer just made it so easy to find what you were looking for. Like, I really like how their website is set up, where you can just pick Xbox, and then it will just give you all the Xbox related articles and stuff that they've written or news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, now it's not their fault that they're European, but sometimes their news doesn't apply to us. Mm-hmm. And it's upsetting. But I'm not going to fault them for living in a country where their main source of nutrition is tea, crumpets, fish, and vinegar. Okay?
I mean, I like tea.
I mean, I like a good fish and chips, but...
Brisk iced tea.
Let me tell you. Anyway, that's it for the news, guys. For now. It is a lot, though. Yeah, I mean, it was like I was going through the news today while I was watching the Browns lose to the Patriots 45-7. It was really hard to watch today. I turned it off in the middle of the third quarter. I was like, I can't watch this. It's too bad. So, but I was going through the news and I was like, man, this looks like a short show. And then Stoy suggested maybe we move the show till tomorrow recording. And then, because of the 20th anniversary stuff tomorrow and stuff. And I was like, no, we should just record. And then there ended up being more news. So I was like, oh, cool. Neat.
Yeah, it's actually pretty decent one.
Yeah.
Decent news stories too.
Yeah. But we're going to get into our topic of the show, guys. Topic of the show. Of course, this week is the 20th anniversary of Xbox. Hey. Oh, wait. Hold on. Flag on the play.
Hold that thought. Yeah.
False start.
Yeah.
False start.
We're going to move into the segment we like to call Pass It On, where Stoy brings us the games that are coming to Game Pass or on Game Pass or something about Game Pass.
Well, I got something a little bit more than just games for Game Pass.
Ooh, are you talking about your perks? Did you get your perks?
No, I didn't. No, not that. You anime nerds out there.
Ooh.
You're getting Crunchyroll Premium for 75 days for free.
Ooh.
Nice.
Crunchyroll is basically like a streaming platform of a bunch of anime stuff. So
I had a bunch of Crunchyrolls tonight for dinner. It's very good.
This is an app. This is a streaming app. This isn't a food that you can eat. Okay. So, but yeah, otherwise, you're gonna get you're gonna get animes like One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer stuff. So long as you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, at least from what I understand from this. But yeah, you get it for 75 days for free. It's kind of neat. So if you want to kind of give it a shot and see what's on Crunchyroll, it's definitely worth checking out. Otherwise, for Game Pass this week, not much coming out, at least in terms of big games, but Next Space Rebels, that's going to be one game coming out on the 17th. Basically, it's like, what's that game on the place on the spaceship game? Where you're flying around everywhere.
What spaceship game? Like R-Type?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky?
Oh,
that one?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
So, apparently this is this game, Next Space Rebels, is basically like, you just kind of like building ships and tinkering with rockets and stuff like that. And but apparently it's got this kind of like Notepad style creation tool set up where it's like a sim game, but with a narrative aspect to it. I don't understand how to explain this game, but it's called Next Space Rebels. So if what I described sounded right up your alley, then message me and tell me what the hell this game is. So.
Or even if sometimes stuff like that you can't explain is a good one to just go try for yourself, because
So otherwise we have Exo 1 that's coming out on the 19th on the 18th as well. Now this game reminds me very much like Flower, that came out way back when, where it's like you're a large pancake, okay, and you're floating over this planet of like, guitar music and atmospheric music and stuff like that, and just crazy particle effects. So, but I mean, like, you don't have to be a pancake. You could be other like kind of like light things and other spaceship type things that could be flying through the air. But this is kind of like a it's like kind of like a walking flying sim. So if you know the game I'm talking about, Flower, that came out on the PlayStation way back. So this looks like a really kind of like relaxing, very chill game. So that's coming out on the 18th. And then you have a game called Fae Tactics, which is a tactics like game, so like Final Fantasy Tactics, but retro styling. So that's kind of sick. That comes out on the 18th as well. And Microsoft Flight Simulator Game of the Year Edition, where it's just basically the same game, but just a bunch of extra content. That's coming out on the 18th. And then you have Undungeon. Apparently this is a science fiction action role-playing game set in a distant future. And this is kind of like retro stylized as well. It kind of looks like. It's kind of reminds me of like Hyper Light Drifter.
Ooh. I like that game.
Not a lot of people did, but
Hyper Light Drifter
kind of like. Yeah,
I thought a lot of people loved that game.
Kind of. It was kind of hard. I remember.
Well, yeah, but anyway, but that doesn't mean people like it.
Yeah, that's true. But so yeah, it's apparently a mind-bending science fiction story.
Ooh, mind-bender.
Yeah, so that comes out on November 18th as well.
Sick.
There's so a lot of kind of like indie stuff coming out this week because honestly, Game Pass is so good for the indie genre.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's a great way to kind of get noticed. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to get your game out there, to get people playing your game.
Mm-hmm.
And that word of mouth goes to like, you should play this game on Dungeon, especially if you like Hyper Light Drifter or something like that. So, yeah,
cool.
So especially with the way they have that feature where just added, and it's like all those games are just right in your face, and that's it. Nothing else is, like bothering you or taking your attention. It's just what was added. So
and that's why kind of like Xbox's user interface is so friendly to discoveries, like you scroll through like what everything Game Pass has to offer. So if you go to the Game Pass app on your Xbox user interface, you can actually see like, hey, what kind of cool racing games are on Game Pass? What kind of good action adventure games or RPGs and stuff like that? And it gives you like the whole list. Like, here, go check these out, So it's really cool to like find something that you want to play, like a genre that is specific to like, hey, I want to play a sports game. What kind of sports games are on Game Pass? And you can find it very easily.
Nice.
Something funny to you, Jesse? Huh?
So I just pulled up the Bing trending now. Brass against P. What does that even mean, and why is that the 5th most searched thing?
So there is a band called Brass Against. Now they put on a concert this last weekend, and the female lead vocalist invited a fan on stage after they finished playing a Rage Against the Machine song, and the female lead singer told the fan to lay down and open his mouth, and the lead singer proceeded to pull down her pants and urinate on his face. And there is video of this, Jesse. So if you want to continue to go deep diving into this, guarantee you no one's heard this band before this. I haven't heard this band before this.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden everybody knows this band, and this is probably the best thing for them because now their career is going to skyrocket because this girl wanted to piss on someone.
Yeah, it just goes to show that like literally when it comes to the world of news, I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it for Game Pass, and thanks for derailing.
As usual, we derail. It's fine.
Yep, it's fine.
It's a little nice nugget of information no one needed.
You're welcome, Jesse.
Speaking of peeing in people's mouths, we're going to move on to our favorite memories over the last 20 years of Xbox.
How does that relate to peeing in people's mouths?
Don't worry about it. It's not one of my favorite memories.
These are terrible segues.
I'll tell you right now, it's not one of my favorite memories.
No, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
So we're playing around with the idea of doing a top 20 for 20 years of Xbox kind of expansion pass style episode for this. But we do want to talk about our favorite memories in the 20 years of Xbox. I'm sure we've come up with a lot. I'm sure we have a lot of memories. I certainly do. I just want us to go around and pick maybe 3 memories. That like very specific memories. I mean, I know we all are like, oh, Halo LAN party is probably one that we all have, right? But like, if there's a specific LAN party that you remember, like I do, like, let's just go into it. Or standing in line for one of the games, or maybe finding a game that you didn't know you were gonna like but ended up really loving or something. So we'll just go Stoy, Jesse, me, Stoy, Jesse, me, Stoy, Jesse, me. We'll pick 3-ish.
Sure.
So
one of my favorite memories was finding out that my Xbox had a hard drive in it. And we're not, like internal memory, because like the PlayStation 2 had memory cards, and that was the only way you could save data. The Xbox was kind of ahead of the game to install. I don't know how big the hard drive was. Obviously, it's nowhere near as the size that we're used to.
I think it was 20 gigs.
Okay, so I'm talking the OG Xbox, like the very first Xbox. So, it had the ability to, like, you could literally install music. You could install it. You could basically not only could you play CDs on your Xbox just like you could with any of the PlayStation games systems, but you can also like install those CDs onto the hard drive and pull them up as you went and saw fit. So when I heard that, I was like, that'd be cool if you could play music during games. And sure enough, I found out you could. Only some games had that feature. So I went to the GameStop and I pulled out every single racing game that I could find on the shelf to look at the back of the box to see if it says custom soundtracks on the back. Because Xbox had this little thing where it was like, it showed like the 1 to 4 players, competitive multiplayer, 420p, whatever, like resolution. Custom soundtracks was an option. So I pulled out every racing game that I could, like Need for Speed, whatever. And that's where I found the game called Apex. And the only reason I played Apex was the fact that I could play racing games playing my own music at the same time without having to like put on a stereo, on in the background while I'm playing the game. So I could actually like import my own custom soundtracks and it would shuffle it as I would play the game. So playing Apex, that was pretty much like a basic bare bones racing game. Like it wasn't a Forza or anything like that, but you're competing in racing, and it was actually kind of cool because not only are you competing in races and competitions, you're actually building your own cars. So it was kind of a cool concept, and it was kind of like a neat way for me to experience the game because it's like I only wanted to play a racing game listening to my own music, and like that still permeates to this day. Like I shut off the radio on Forza Horizon 5 because not only is the radio terrible in that game, all radio stations on that game are terrible. The dialogue is cringy as fuck. And even the radio DJs, when they're like, hey, welcome to Horizon. We're going to have a blast. I'm having so much fun, Kyle. Anyway, so I always like mute the radio and I just put on my own playlist. And nowadays it's like, Xbox and PlayStation and stuff, like you can play Spotify while you're playing the game. So it's kind of neat. You don't have to, but that was one of my favorite memories of Xbox and games. And like I said, if it wasn't for the custom soundtrack option, I wouldn't have found Apex because I had a shit ton of fun with Apex.
Yeah, I did that a lot too with like I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X did that, which was like the weird amalgamation of 1 and 2 on the Xbox. So I remember doing that for
wasn't
that.
Wasn't it enhanced?
Yeah.
Wasn't it enhanced too? Like it ran better than.
Well, sure.
Because I mean, well, the Xbox was more powerful at the time when it came out than anything else.
Right. But I don't really know how to. I don't remember. I just remember playing it on the Xbox and playing my own music, and it was fun. Also, what was the other racing game they had? Project Gotham, I think, did that as well.
Yeah, but I don't think till later. I know, like I said, at the time when I
think it was
found out about this, it was pretty early in the system's life cycle.
Yeah, I think it was Project Gotham Racing 2 did it.
Probably, yeah.
So
yeah,
but yeah, good pick, Stoy. Nice.
Yeah, because that was the kind of nice thing about the OG Xbox is that you didn't need a memory card. I mean, if you wanted to like take your data somewhere else, to like someone else's house or someone else's system, you could buy a memory card, but you didn't have to. And you could store as much data as you want on it. You didn't need to have like 8 memory cards, PlayStation, GameCube. So.
Yeah.
Shit, Animal Crossing for GameCube, you needed your own damn memory card.
Yeah.
That's how much data you need.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if you were one of those people that had it modded, you could just plug an external hard drive into it too, like with stuff on it.
Yeah.
And all that.
I remember the Xbox was really easy to mod, and my friend put a hard drive in his, and he would just go to Blockbuster and rent games and burn them onto the hard drive. Like that's how I found out about Knights of the Old Republic, was he rented it and played it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to break my Xbox because I'm stupid, but I will, however, buy this game. Turns out it was a good one.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah, so I just, like, for me, like, some of the best time, like, in my life, like, playing on Xbox, like, so when right out of high school, I had started working third shift at the YMCA, just cleaning and stuff like that. And so, like, a bunch of my friends, you know, like, we all had Xboxes or whatever, or like my sister and her boyfriend, you know, were living at an apartment, and then, like, I would go hang out there with them and a bunch of our friends, you know, our mutual friends. And, like, we would literally, like, I would sleep maybe tops 4 hours on, like, Saturday or whatever, Saturday morning, you know, after I got done with work. And then I would literally we would be over there every weekend just playing Xbox until like 8, 9 o'clock in the next morning. And then, like, sleep for 3, 4 hours and then do it all over again Sunday. And like, I used to have so much fun just playing, like we would play Halo or a lot of actually Fusion Frenzy and stuff like that. But, like,
was it real Fusion Frenzy, or was it the demo on the Halo disc?
No, it was real. Eventually it was real. Yeah, real Fusion Frenzy. But I did play that demo quite a bit too, because I loved it. Like, you know, because at the time it was like Mario Party was really the only, like, option of something that was actually good, that had a whole bunch of mini games, you know, on it. And so then that came along, and it did its own thing. It didn't try to copy it, really. It did its own thing, but it still was entertaining and fun to play with friends. So yeah, like, that was a big one for me, honestly. Like, Fusion Frenzy, I played so many hours of that with friends. But yeah, like, I've had a lot of just great, like, you know, almost 20-hour plus runs of just playing all weekend with friends, playing multiplayer games together, and just all kinds of fun for, you know, like 10, 20 hours straight.
Yeah.
The great days of not having responsibility. Mm-hmm. Outside of work, obviously. But
I guess for me, I think I'll start with the Halo LAN party thing, because we would literally get together every weekend and play Halo LAN party style, to the point where all summer we would have 32 people, and it would literally be 8-on-8 times 2 in the basement, and we'd have, like, okay, well, the losers of this match play each other, and then the winners of this match would play each other, and then it would just be like this big shuffle of people moving Xboxes around and TVs around and everything. Man, it was cool. And then, like, we would order, like, probably, I don't know, 10, 12 pizzas, whatever, and just eat pizza. It was literally the only thing that was missing was Taco Bell from this stereotype video game night at friend's house. No, we had Mountain Dew.
Was there?
Oh, you had the Mountain Dew. Okay.
We had the Mountain Dew.
It's a staple.
We also had Diet Mountain Dew, because there's some of our friends were diabetic and they needed some dew also.
Oh yeah.
So But yeah, man, I just remember that was like my first real experience with Xbox. And at that time, I didn't have an Xbox. But after that summer, all I wanted for my birthday was an Xbox. And so I got a bunch of money. And I remember Best Buy had this ridiculous deal on the original Xbox. It was the original Xbox, 2 controllers, Halo 1, Fable, and what was it? Maybe like Knights of the Old Republic, I think. No, it wasn't. No, it's too early. I don't know, but it was like they dropped the original Xbox to like $99, and for $150 you could pick 3 games in the original Xbox and 2 controllers. It was ridiculous. So I ended up that's how I got my original Xbox. It was awesome. Cool. It was awesome.
I do remember that being such a big deal when they dropped that price and then had that big package deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got to look it up because I don't remember what game it was.
Because I can't remember, but was that like around the time they first started doing the different colored console controllers? Like when they did that first drop in price?
No, because I got 2 black ones, and then they did. It was right when they released the S style controllers, so yeah. I got a Duke and an S style controller.
Okay. Okay.
And then I ended up trading in the Duke controller for another black one, and then I ended up getting a green and a blue one also.
Yeah, when those started coming. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know it was like kind of. Yeah, it was a little while until they started doing the colored stuff because they had that whole controller changeover of making the slim and yeah.
I think the other game I got was Agent Under Fire, the 007 game. Which
okay.
Those games were really good too, by the way.
Yeah,
a lot of the Bond games in that era were actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
like Nightfire for the GameCube. I think even like the GoldenEye game that came out for the GameCube was really good.
Yeah, Rogue Agent.
Everything or Nothing. That was like the one game Pierce Brosnan agreed to come on.
Yeah.
I
remember that.
I think that was his last appearance as Bond. Was that game?
Probably, yeah.
Because it was supposed to coincide with the movie he was in with Halle Berry, and then the game got delayed. I think.
Yeah.
And that was his last appearance as Bond. Was this which? Everything or Nothing, probably better than that last movie he was in, but it's a conversation for a different day. So that's my first memory of the, out of many. So Stoy, we're coming back to you. Coming back to Stoy.
So I bought when I got my Xbox 360. I went into a snowstorm. I remember I got paid, and it was like a really big check. I worked extra, and I got a big check, and I was like, I'm going to GameStop. Told my girlfriend, I'm going to GameStop to pick up my 360. And she's like, it's a snowstorm outside. Why the hell are you going out right now? And I was like, I told myself this was the day I was going. So I picked it up, and I picked up 2 games. I picked up Gears of War, and I picked up Rainbow Six Vegas. So I brought it home, and I was more excited for Rainbow Six Vegas because I played the hell out of it at one of my friends' houses and loved it. Gears of War was good. Don't get me wrong. So, my friend at the time was really interested in my Xbox 360, so he wanted to come over and play Gears of War. And I was like, Gears of War is good, but I think you'll like Rainbow Six Vegas more. He's like, no way, man, Gears of War. So we played Gears of War for a little bit, and then we played Rainbow Six, and he fell in love with Rainbow Six. No shit. He should have listened to me. So anyway, he came over a couple more times, and we would play Rainbow Six, and it was a lot of fun, whatever. So then at one point, he calls me up at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like, hey, man, so I found a used 360 that this kid is selling. You want to come with me to go pick it up? And I was like, now? And he's like, yeah, now. I'm trading in one of my handguns for it. And I was like, okay, but you said you're buying an Xbox 360 off a kid. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you want to do this now? It's 10 o'clock at night during the week. And he's like, yeah, I need you to come with me to check it out to make sure it's okay and make sure I have all the pieces with it. And I was like, Okay, where are we meeting? At a tattoo shop. At a tattoo shop. Okay, this is great. So here we go. Like, we go to this tattoo shop. Right now it's midnight at this point, and apparently it's a tattoo shop that's still open, like in a shady part of Milwaukee. And this guy's getting a tattoo, and we walk in, and we're like, "Hey, yo, like, like in the movies, like, where's the man with the merchandise? Oh, he's over there in the other room." It's like, all right. So he comes out with his buddies, and then like he pulls it out, opens the box, and my friend is like, check it out, make sure it's all in there. So I'm like looking through, got all the AV cables, the power brick, all that stuff, whatever. Yeah, everything's here, boss. And all of a sudden he pulls out the handgun, opens the case, and the kid is like looking at it like he's deathly afraid of it. Deathly afraid of it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a bad fucking idea. What's this kid gonna do with this thing? So like he pulls it up like this, like he pulls it up kind of by the handle like this. And my friend's like, grab it, grab it like you need it, whatever. And the kid's like, oh, don't worry about that. Whatever. It's no big deal. So like he hands him a bullet shell, and he's like, hey, this is the first bullet shell I ever fired from it. I thought it'd be kind of neat for you to have. And the kid was like afraid to touch the bullet. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a bad idea. We're selling my friend, so like we left, and I remember I was like, did you tell your wife? He's married at this time. Did you tell your wife that you're here? He's like, oh, no, I didn't. And I was like, oh my God, we just gave a kid a handgun. Who the hell knows what the fuck he's going to do with it? And he's like, well, I'm going to report it stolen tomorrow. And so that way, if something happens, he's going to whatever, like, it's not going to come back to me. It's obviously going to be reported stolen, and, so on and so forth. So yeah, this, my friend loved his 360. He loved Rainbow Six Vegas enough that he sold a handgun to a child.
It probably sounds like a story you should be telling live on air on a podcast.
I mean, this happened 20 years ago, so I could give two shits about, because it's not like it affected me at all. But,
no one said names.
No one said names. But man, that was just shady. It was just like, dude, don't make me do this again. And he's like, oh, don't worry, but I, like I said, I didn't have the cash. And I'm like, okay. Whatever. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my story.
Jesse, what's your next story? Please, is it more interesting than this? Because I don't think it's gonna be.
No.
I'll think about selling guns to kids for an Xbox.
Yeah, no. I had my first job when I was 14, so like buying consoles usually was something I ended up having to do myself pretty early on. But at 14, I already think I had bought my first console with my first couple of checks. I don't remember what it was, but that would have been at that time. But yeah, I mean, for me, I've bought almost every Xbox, I think, on either on release day or very shortly after. And specifically, I remember, I'll just say my story of getting my 360. I remember everyone, it was such a big deal. Everyone wanted one. It was pretty crazy during that time when it was first coming out. And I've never really pre-ordered one before either. And I just remember going to a couple of places and just seeing if they had any in store. And almost every single place that I went to, it was always the same. They would just laugh in my face and just be like, if you didn't pre-order it, you're not going to get it. So I had went to a couple of places, and the last place I had left was Best Buy. And I went to Best Buy. I walked in. I'm like, hey, I'm guessing it's probably a no, but do you guys wouldn't probably happen to have any 360s? left or whatever. And then the guy's like, oh, actually, like, I think you might be in luck. I think we have 2 left where people had called and canceled their pre-orders. And so I ended up getting one. And then there was a guy that had walked in a couple of minutes after I had came in who asked the same thing, and he was also lucky and got that other one that was left. And so, like, yeah, for whatever reason, I did the same thing with my Xbox One too. I didn't pre-order it. I just walked in day of, and ended up getting one, just being lucky, and just there being 1 or 2 left that I could just walk in and grab one. So yeah, I've been really really lucky with consoles. Other than with and thanks to Corey with the Series X, but that one, no one was going to walk in anywhere and get something. But yeah, so I've always just had a fun day. Usually on Xbox console release days, I would just go all over the place and end up getting lucky somewhere, finding one day of release.
Yeah, my 360 story was, it's not, I guess I could just make it my next memory and bounce it off of you, Jesse. It was like, I was more of a Nintendo kid growing up, or, well, really like a Sega kid into Nintendo 64 and then Dreamcast and then, GameCube. Like, I was obsessed with the GameCube, and I played a lot of RPGs on PlayStation 2, and I was like, what's this Xbox thing? Sounds stupid. But then obviously played Halo and got sucked in and bought one. But then, like, the 360, I didn't really feel like I needed one yet. Mm-hmm. And, I was still playing, like, Metroid Prime and Kingdom Hearts 2 and, on my PlayStation 2. I don't need an Xbox 360. I'm playing Madden on my PS2. And and obviously, like, my Xbox was still hooked up in our college dorm room or whatever, like playing Halo 2 or whatever. And then it was just a chance thing. I walked by one of my friend's dorms just by chance, and his door was open, and he was playing, I think he was playing Oblivion. I was like, what's this? He's like, oh, this is the new RPG on the Xbox 360. I'm like, what? Because, like, I didn't play with Morrowind or anything. I didn't even know what Elder Scrolls was at that point. I don't think. He's like, yeah, you can, like, literally do anything in this game. So I was, like, watching him play, and then his twin brother came in. He's like, dude, I just got the new Xbox game, Gears of War. We should play it. And I watched him play Gears of War, and I was like, instantly, like, I need one of these things, like, right away. Gears was the game that made me, I think, like, I liked Halo and I liked a lot of games on the Xbox, but I wouldn't have called myself an Xbox fan, but Gears of War was the game that sucked me in and made me an Xbox fan. And so, like, I was in the middle of, like, leaving the school I was at because I didn't want to play sports anymore and it was way too expensive. But I convinced the girl I was dating at the time that I wanted one for Christmas. So she went out and bought me an Xbox 360, Gears of War, and all of the Burger King games.
Yes.
Sneak
King, baby.
Yeah. So that was a really cool, like, Christmas gift from her, even though, like, I was moving back home, which was 2 hours away from school. And safe to say we aren't together anymore. We actually broke up like 2 months later because, like, it was a drive, So, whoops.
Long distance relationships don't work that often.
No, they don't. So, but yeah, that's how I got my Xbox 360. That was cool. So, yeah. And then I sold my, because, like, I could hear the fan going, and, like, this rumors of the Red Ring of Death was starting to float around. And then they were releasing the Xbox Elite, with the bigger hard drive, and it was a black console, and I was like, oh well, I need a black console because that's cooler. So I sold my launch the one I got, the 360, to my friend as we were driving to pick up my Elite console. He went with me to go pick it up, and then he wanted the Elite console, so he sold that console to someone, and we all three went to go get his Elite console, and then literally 2 weeks later, that console red ringed. It was all within like 6 weeks. All within like 6 weeks, like that console switched hands twice and the red ringed. So I was like, man. I gotta give a shout out to the 360 though. They had a lot of cool collector's editions consoles that I wanted, especially the Halo 4 console, that translucent blue one. So cool. I love like that console.
The Star Wars one, with the R2D2 sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Xbox itself, I think, is actually worth a lot of money, a decent amount of money.
The Star Wars one?
Star Wars one, yeah, because that one didn't have a lot of editions come out, and it's very sought after, obviously, because it makes R2D2 sounds when you like open up the disc drawer.
Yeah, and it came with a C-3PO Connect and dancing Star Wars or whatever that was.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. That Halo 4 console, though. I missed that console. Yeah. I wanted an Xbox One really bad, and I didn't have enough money to buy one, so I traded that console in for it. Bad decision, I have to say.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
it's okay.
Stoy, what's your last memory before we kind of start wrapping things?
I had when I got my Xbox One, I was really excited for Killer Instinct. I was a huge Killer Instinct fan growing up. And I remember when I first downloaded the game, it was free. It was free on Xbox, but you could only play as like 4 characters. But it didn't matter to me at the time because Jago was my main, in the original games. And Jago was a free character, so I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I don't need to buy this right now. I ended up buying it later because they kept releasing more content, whatever. So when I first got my Xbox One, I downloaded it and I played it. And I played it so much. Because I play fighting games with the D-pad. I don't use the analog stick. And the D-pad on the original Xbox One controller apparently was so sharp that I ended up getting a blister on my left thumb. And I remember the blister was so bad and so big, like I played through it. Like I felt it growing as I was playing, but I was so invested in this game, I kept playing through it. And I knew, man, this is going to be a blister. Man, this is going to be a huge blister, but I don't care because I'm really trying to nail down Jago's combos. And, it required like so many different, turns of the D-pad and stuff like that. It's very, very dynamic. But man, when you lay those combos down in Killer Instinct, boy, you feel like a badass. So good. Anyway, I just remember going to Midwest Gaming Classic the next day, and the blister opened up right before. So like it had literally like debilitated one of my hands that I like to pursue, go through the collection. So like I had to like walk around with my left hand like tucked. I looked like I was disabled or some kind of like my left hand kind of tucked underneath my chest. I'm going through and like, hey man, is your left hand okay? I was like, I got a big blister on my hand from Killer Instinct, and everyone's like, why? Like I'm trying to explain the story like it's not a badass story. I got this from playing a video game. Everyone's like, wow, you're an idiot. I'm like, yeah. Can I buy this, please?
Wow.
So that was, I've gotten blisters on my hands playing like on the Nintendo, the Nintendo system with their D-pad.
Yeah.
Because their D-pad was always really sharp, and I remember getting blisters from them as a kid. And I ever since then, I never had any up until Killer Instinct for the Xbox One, and that blister was huge, man. Like when it opened up, it took a while to heal. So.
Nice. Blisters are fun.
Yes. That is sarcasm?
No.
Just to let everybody know.
No, it's not. Blisters are fun.
You want the big Capri Sun on your finger.
Yeah. No.
Jesse, what's your memory?
So I was trying to think if I wanted to do something about Xbox One, but I think I'm gonna just go back again to like one of my favorite things. I thought that was so cool at the time with the original Xbox is that I believe it was what the heck what the heck game was that where you could there was 2 discs. It came with the 2 discs, and then you could just give one to your friend. And just that whole idea of being like one of the first times where you could play multiplayer without your friend having to have a disc as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was that War Machine. What the heck was the
Mechasalt?
Mechasalt. I think it was Mechasalt 2.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Mechasalt 1 or Mechasalt 2. Specifically when you would buy it for Xbox, it came with a second disc that was only multiplayer. So like you could hook, and so me and my friend hooked up our Xboxes to one another, and then we could play versus each other or play together, and all I had to do is buy the one copy. But yeah, it wasn't like a full second disc. It was just so you could have a friend play multiplayer with you on another console. Just because, you know, like at the time, like split screen was a thing, but a game like that where there's so much more involved, I think they did it because it was a little bit harder to do a split screen on that and, you know, be as easy to play. And so they just gave you a second disc. I'm pretty sure it was Mechasalt 2, but yeah, like I just remember like that being such a big deal. I think I want to say that Command and Conquer might have done that as well. I think they did that on PlayStation 2, where you could play online with only one disc or something like that.
Huh.
But yeah, like at that time it was just kind of neat because it was just such a rare occasion.
Yeah.
And you know, some games, not every friend's, you know, at that time it's not like you're just playing over the internet as easily as we do today.
Oh,
and
God.
So like being able to just do it, you know, in person, just, you know, literally run a landline from one Xbox to the other and not actually to the internet first before that was, you know, was just so cool at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just kind of a cool thing that, you know, like we see some games where they have it where your friends can play for free. But yeah, it's still such a rare thing now.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll wrap it up. It's short and sweet one, but I think last year when we were anticipating the Series X and like we were talking about it and like doing this show for so long, Jesse, and like, you know, just, I don't know. I think that this show has given me a new appreciation and love for Xbox also. And just leading up to the Series X launch and just having all these tabs open and finally getting it and getting one for you and like really trying to like get this console. Like it was that's like a memory that's going to stick with me forever. Like it's right up there with like when I stood in line for the Wii at Toys R Us in the middle of November with shorts and flip-flops on when it was like snowing outside, and then I wondered why I was sick for a week after that, but it was worth it. But I don't know, I really love the Series X and my experience with it so far, and you know, kind of building this show around it, and I don't know, I kind of have associated a lot of my favorite memories with the podcast that we do now, you know, and this show mixed with the Series X has been a really good memory too. So
yeah, I didn't think about that 360 story for a long time, actually. I blocked that out of my memory until all of a sudden we started sharing these stories, and I'm like, oh yeah, there was that one time I probably probably was an accomplice to a crime. Statute of limitations, though.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine.
It's fine.
So
yeah, well, and yeah, and I think just in general, this generation or this new console generation that's starting has just been like, even though we don't have as many of those memories as some of the older stuff quite yet, I mean, there's been a lot of memorable things that have happened during us doing this show and stuff, already, with just the change in direction and like even when we first started the show, like or when I first started joining you, Corey, and and Ed, when you guys were kind of first wanting to start to do it, like everyone still absolutely thought Xbox One was completely a waste, and it was not. There was no positivity yet for it.
I think the games that were out when Ed and I were like kind of like wanting to have an Xbox show and a PlayStation show, honestly, to go along with our Nintendo show and the show we were doing at the time, other show that we were doing at the time that was kind of like equivalent to what the Boss Rush podcast is now. But like, we wanted to have representation for Xbox and PlayStation, and obviously, that's how Arsenal X was born. But like the games we were talking about at the time were like, Halo 5 had been out for a while, and like the multiplayer was fun, but the story kind of sucked. But then like we started getting into the games like Titanfall 2 and Quantum Break, and
Quantum Break.
I know Ed was like really high on Recore because it was basically like a 3D Mega Man game at that time, and
it was I thought it was a 3D third person. It was like a third person Metroid to me.
Yeah.
I loved Recore.
Yeah. There's just I think there was a lot of underappreciated games, but I think the games were underappreciated because of the mistakes they made launching the box. And that's kind of, Ed and I kind of have a history of doing that, I guess, because the games we were talking about when we started Pal Block were, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash for Wii U, and I think the other big game at the time was I think the biggest game at the time was Bayonetta 2 had just come out, so that was fun to talk about. But like, we started a Nintendo podcast in the downslope of the Wii U, so you want to just kind of time that up. But yeah, I mean, the Series X, I think it by far, in a way, my favorite Xbox console. I mean, I had a lot of great memories with the 360, and obviously I played a lot of games online with friends on the Xbox One, like Destiny and Halo and Gears. But like, I don't know, I think the Series X does a lot of things better. I think it's the box they wanted the Xbox One to be, obviously, and like just the small changes they made to the box and the small quality of life improvements. Like, obviously the SSD is a big thing, but just the whole backwards compatible angle, and games running better, games playing better. We talk about it all the time, and I don't need to go into another whole topic on this, but like, Xbox has just done a lot of great things to improve the console and make it something worth owning, Yeah,
definitely the Xbox One had a rocky start.
Yeah.
That's for sure. We can acknowledge that.
Yeah. And it's crazy because they had Titanfall, which was like an amazing competitive multiplayer game, was awesome. And they had it as an exclusive and still couldn't pull them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It just was one of those things where it just went to show that price ends up being everything. Like, I mean, it happened with PS3, like where the price was at a point where people did not want it. And, and they tried bundling the Kinect in. Like, I do always wonder if had they not bundled that Kinect in, forcefully, like would the majority of that that stuff happened. You know, like as far as the negativity towards them.
Yeah.
So no, it was honestly the whole like the fight against the used game market that Xbox was starting to wage. To say that
the always online stuff.
The always online stuff, and the fact that when you put a game into that system, that game is locked to that system.
Yeah.
You can't take that game and loan it to a friend, because then what that means is that license gets removed from your system and gets put on that system. I think it was only allowed like one time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it basically hurt the used game market a lot, and GameStop is like, you're gonna hurt our bottom line. You know. And I think there was a lot of like, we don't know how this is gonna work. And then dipshit, you know, saying like, well, what happens if people want to play offline? And whoever the guy was at the time was like,
Don Matrick.
Well, you know what? You can always play the 360.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, fuck you, man.
Yeah, you got to hand it to the current team though, like Phil and Matt Booty
our Lord
and Sarah Bond and
our Lord and Savior Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Brought us out of the darkness to the light.
Yeah.
Now we see the light. That is Xbox.
The Xbox. By the way, did you see that story? I almost put it in the rundown, but I don't think it was worth having a conversation about. Did you see that the Xbox Series X and S has already outsold the lifetime sales of the Xbox One in Japan?
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that before. Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Because I think they outsold it like months after it released already. Mm-hmm. Like because I think that was a pretty, I don't know. I mean, because I remember it being mentioned, but yeah, and that was another thing though too, is like Japan not getting those consoles, getting the Xbox One until a year or whatever later, or the 360 or whatever. Like those consoles not coming out to be able to be bought until a year later. I mean, come on, what do you expect? You're letting a whole year go by where they can rely on something else and then just think that they're just going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll get one now. Mm-hmm. No, it's that was a big deal, for them this time around to actually release it the same time, you know, like a universal release was such a important part of that growth, I think, too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Arsenal X. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Remember, you can catch the show live on Sunday nights. Come join us. Come chat with us. We like to interact with you and answer your questions and stuff. So please join us. If you can't join us live, you can catch the show on Tuesday mornings on YouTube and podcast services everywhere. You can follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Network. Use the hashtag ArsenalX. If you have questions, you can tweet at us. Stoy, Jesse, thank you for your time tonight. Stoy, where can we find you?
Well, I'm part of the EXP Cast. It's another video game podcast, part of the Boss Rush Network. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXP Cast. Ooh. And in our Discord. So if you go to the Boss Rush Games Discord, we have a room in there. So you can definitely find me in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Find the guy that just search Mass Effect. You'll definitely find me talking about Mass Effect somewhere there.
I've been wanting to play Mass Effect again, like the trilogy.
You know what I did? GameStop had a buy two get one free thing this weekend, so I ended up picking up the Mass Effect Legendary Edition for the Xbox Series games. Even though I already have it on the PlayStation, but why not? If I wanted to play it again, I wanted to play it on the Xbox, so I have two of the same game.
Do it. It's fine. Double dipping is okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, spread the love, man.
Spread it.
You like something, you support it.
Yeah.
Spread it. Getting that taint. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me on your taint.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
You can find me almost anywhere as Phantom NXS, including your taint.
Oh, God. Look what we started.
You can find him underneath your chair, tickling that little nostalgia taint. Mm-hmm. So check your seat for holes.
Glory holes.
Oh, God. You can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. We have a lot of new and exciting things coming your way, so make sure you follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Network to find out what it is. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. And until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.